Tropical Storm Debbie is now on our doorstep. We're fine-tuning rainfall totals, wind speeds, and the increasing tornado threat. Everything your town will see hour by hour.
We're on the ground in Sampson County where a tornado touched down this afternoon. Coming up, we'll show you the extent of the damage and tell you what people inside the home went through.
Then, new video from Wrightsville Beach, now under a flash flood warning. WRAL has a live look at how conditions there are quickly changing. As we begin here at 7 o'clock, I want to show you this live look of Carolina Beach. Look at the waves. You can see that the wind is going strong here. There is a flash flood warning in this area. This all as Debbie hammers our coast at this hour, spinning up tornadoes in parts of our area. And we want to give you a look at the tropical storm on radar right now. You can see, just look at all of this activity. That is why our communities to our south and east have seen severe weather today. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Ashley Rowe.
And I'm Dan Haggerty. How about this drone video? It gives you an idea of the damage from a tornado earlier today in Sampson County. Obviously, you're looking down on a home that was torn apart partially by those winds. All of this, keep in mind, happening while a 9-year-old boy was inside one of these homes in Harrells. We are tracking some of the same again tomorrow with an increased risk of tornadoes in parts of Wake County and the surrounding areas. Debbie will begin moving faster soon. Flooding is still a concern. We are not forecasting quite as much rain. Tonight, Wake County and Durham Public Schools both announced they're closed tomorrow.
We have live team coverage with crews across the state. Let's begin with meteorologist Kat Campbell in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. Kat, you're timing out these impacts.
And the coast is really starting to see conditions deteriorate right now. That rain band at the coast is going to be moving here very early in the morning hours tomorrow. The center of the storm just off the coast of Charleston, moving at just 3 miles per hour with top winds of 60 miles per hour. The North Carolina coast rainfall totals adding up right now. Almost 8 inches of rain in Charlotte, as well as Calabash there. Ocean Isle Beach, over 5.5 inches of rain and counting. Over 5.5 inches for Holden Beach. North Myrtle, about 7 inches of rain and just over 3 inches of rain so far in Wilmington. Wind gusts picking up a bit. We've got some gusts to about 30 miles per hour in the southeastern part of our state as these rain bands move through. But it's that heavy rain that really stands out, and that's going to be the case for us here locally tomorrow. So it's these rain bands that are moving ashore, dumping a lot of heavy rain. We're watching the tornado threats. Nothing looking menacing right now there at the coast. For us, it's steady rain that we have moving in. It's a steady band of rain moving through Wake County. That's going to be with us for another couple of hours and move toward Durham, eventually I-85. It's this rain band down here, though, that's more intense, and that's what gets here later tonight. With a track shift slightly to the west, we are forecasting a little less rain. We are still expecting to see significant flooding. I want to make that clear, but our numbers have come down a bit, and this could help with river flooding. 4 to 6 inches of rain forecast now in the Triangle, 5 to 7 inches for Southern Pines, Fayetteville, Clinton, 2 to 4 for Rocky Mount as well as South Hill. So let's talk about this tornado threat that we're keeping an eye on for tomorrow. The track shifted west a bit, and that doesn't really mean that we're going to see any less impacts. It just means the center will pass to the west of the Triangle, and that puts the Triangle on the side of the storm where you'll have a lot of wind shear. It makes it easy for tornadoes to spin up rather quickly. And because of that, here's the center of the track right here. Because we're to the right of that now, there is a level 2 threat for severe storms and tornadoes to develop from Raleigh points east and a level 1 threat for areas west of Raleigh. So all of our viewing area has at least some level of concern for an isolated tornado. And unfortunately, we did have one touchdown in southern Sampson County earlier today. Futurecast for tonight, here's that rain band at the coast getting here overnight into early tomorrow morning. And we're going to be watching these bands of rain. There will be breaks in it on and off throughout the day that move from the southeast to the northwest. And it's these bands right here that could have those isolated tornadoes spin up. Tomorrow night, we still have rain around, but we start to see some improvements a bit on the breezy side as the center of Debbie passes. And then by Friday, river flooding turns to be our main concern. Coming up in about 15 minutes, I'll have a closer look at what to expect behind this system over the weekend.
Well, you heard Kat talk about it. Now I want to show it to you. Caught on camera, one of our viewers caught that tornado in Sampson County right as it touched down. Incredible video. 2 homes were damaged. A building collapsed. WRAL's Heidi Kirk is live outside one of those homes. Heidi, the damage is extensive. You spoke with a little boy who was inside the home at the time.
Ashley, he described to me the terror that he felt while playing video games this afternoon when he started to hear the lightning crack down through the sky, the winds pick up, and that tornado rolled through as he was sitting on the couch. I want you to take a look at your screens. You're going to see exactly what people saw in Sampson County this afternoon. It's exactly what he's talking about. A lot of debris flying by, just feeling that terror, fearing for his life. And we are just grateful that at this time, we believe no one was injured in that storm. Now, I want you to take a look at some video from our drone. This is what it looks like where we're standing here in Sampson County. As you can see, the damage is extensive. There are blankets, toys, belongings from multiple different people. One of those homes was a group home where thankfully no one was there. But of course, that 9-year-old boy says that this is a day that he will never forget.
The cover that was covering the window went up. All the dogs went up. Then all of that chairs and stuff was blocking the front entrance. The door was wide open. The piece of wood that you see over there was over the door. So after a few seconds or a few minutes or so, it all calmed down. I was very scared. I tried to text my mom.
Now, there have been people out here all afternoon essentially picking up the pieces to their homes, especially of that group home you're going to see across the street. There's a number of people over there as we speak, carrying out bags of clothing and belongings to make sure that they can wake up tomorrow with their things. Of course, it's raining pretty hard right now where we are in Sampson County, so those people are just focused on getting the things that they need before they go to sleep tonight. But of course, this is not something that is going to resolve in just a day. There's going to be people out here, I'm sure, for days to come. Heidi Kirk, WRAL News, live in Sampson County.
Quite a lot of damage. You may have received this push alert to your phone not long after the National Weather Service issued a tornado warning today. Download the WRAL News app to get updates like this one, especially as an increased risk for tornadoes moves in tomorrow.
Well, we can tell you the rain and wind really starting to pick up, has been throughout the day along our coast. Right now, it's the same story. This is a live look at Wrightsville Beach. We have seen the conditions there deteriorate throughout the day. The ocean is certainly rough, as you can tell from here. We want to go straight to WRAL's Aaron Thomas. He's been there throughout the day for us. You've seen some tornado warnings in that area today, too, Aaron.
That's right, Dan. In fact, the good news is that out of those tornado warnings, thankfully, we have not seen any tornadoes touch down in this area. Right here on Wrightsville Beach, definitely not an ideal beach day. You can see the rain that's starting to fall sideways. We're dealing with those gusty winds. And of course, you can see those ocean waves that are really starting to turn. You can take a look at some of this video. We actually saw a lot of people. They're coming out here, some in their rain gear and their umbrellas, wanting to even capture this moment on camera. As the hours pass on, we're only expecting this storm to get even stronger. For a point of reference, we actually captured a lot of these whipping winds moving through this parking lot. We've been going to different businesses to find out what preparations they're taking, if any. A lot of them are saying as long as employees are able to safely come to work, they plan on staying open as normal.
We're going to be open to our normal hours unless Wrightsville Beach informs us that we're not allowed to be. We'll be open for business.
And yeah, so we've been dealing with these current conditions since about 4:30 this afternoon. We've been here in Wrightsville Beach since Monday, and this is really the heaviest rain conditions that we've experienced since then. There's currently no evacuations at this point from New Hanover County officials. Of course, that could change. They're also encouraging anyone to not get in the water. As you can see, it's very strong and it is dangerous. Aaron Thomas, WRAL News, live in Wrightsville Beach.
Very good advice there, Aaron. Thank you so much. We are keeping a close eye on the coast. WRAL's Brian Schrader in the live center with another look around at some of the places being impacted.
As we keep our eyes on Debbie, want to take you live to Surf City. That is on the Onslow-Pender County line north of Wilmington. And you can see that the waves are really kicking up out there. The rain is falling there. They're seeing a little bit of a break right now, but they are anticipating another heavy rain band to move ashore very shortly. I want to check in on conditions around the triangle right now in the WRAL storm tracker. We've got it on the road, and you can see on radar some rain over the eastern half of Wake County. Carly Haynes is on the Beltline right now, and you're dealing with some of that rain. Is it coming down too hard at the moment?
It is. It just started picking up within the past 15 minutes. I want to give you a look at the road conditions. We've been out here for several hours, and this is the heaviest that we've seen it right around the station on Western Boulevard. But we're on 440 East in Raleigh right now, and that heavy rain, that wind picking up, that's what's causing the concern for possible widespread power outages. I also want to show you where utility crews are set up to respond to power outages that may come later. This is over at Walnut Creek Amphitheater. Hundreds of crews here, including people from different states, ready to respond to Debbie. Once the wind dies down and it's safe to do so, crews are going to be sent out to some of the hardest hit areas, and they're going to start restoring power there. Duke Energy does anticipate a lot of flooding as a result of this, but reiterating what our meteorologists have been saying, this is expected to be a very heavy rain and slow-moving event. Carly Haynes, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Debbie is causing some school systems to make changes, including the state's largest school system. Wake County closed tomorrow, along with Durham Public Schools and several others. A full list of closings and delays is scrolling at the bottom of your screen. You can also find it on WRAL.com.
And you can count on us here at WRAL for team coverage of the impacts of this tropical storm from the Triangle all the way to the coast, all the way until the threat moves out throughout the entire event. Our morning news will start early tomorrow at 4 a.m. as we begin that live coverage. Still ahead, Wake County health officials are investigating an outbreak of 134 cases of an illness tied to herbs and vegetables served in 3 restaurants in our area. What we know so far, coming up.
Breaking tonight in Wake County, more than 100 people have gotten sick with a parasite infection linked to local restaurants. WRAL health reporter Grace Haba has been working on this story all day long. You've been able to put a lot of the puzzle pieces together in just the last few hours. Grace, what's the latest?
Ashley, that's right. A viewer reached out to us saying she had tested positive for this parasite after eating at a local restaurant. Now, after contacting state, local, and national health officials all day long, we now know that the county is investigating an outbreak of 134 cases tied to herbs and vegetables served in 3 different restaurants here in Wake County. Now, the county will not tell us yet the name of these restaurants, as they say right now it doesn't appear to be their fault.
The parasite Cyclospora is microscopic and too small to see with the eye. But one woman in Wake County tells us its infection packs a highly unpleasant punch.
For me, it started with incredible body aches, incredible fatigue, terrible stomach ache, nausea.
The WRAL viewer asked us not to use her name, but says she got sick July 11th. She was bedridden for over a week, not knowing what was making her sick. It was only when a friend got so sick they were hospitalized that a stool sample was tested and revealed a parasite was to blame.
For her to say, hey, test for this parasite because that's what I got. It was an incredible gift to be able to go right to urgent care and say, hey, I think I might have this parasite.
The Wake County Health Department says 134 confirmed cases date back to May and are likely tied to herbs or vegetables. The CDC says washing your hands, cutting away damaged areas, and scrubbing your produce can reduce risk of infection. But it's not always enough to get rid of the parasite. Cooking the produce will kill it, though.
Now, one area doctor I spoke with actually tells me that typical stool tests that you'd go and get if you feel sick don't actually look for this specific type of infection. So a doctor actually has to specifically by name request for the lab, Ashley, to include this parasite in that test.
All right.
3 Taylor Swift concerts have been canceled in Vienna after investigators say people were plotting a terrorist attack. Concert organizers said on an Instagram post that we have no choice but to cancel the 3 scheduled shows for everyone's safety. It cited government officials and, quote, confirmation of a planned attack at the stadium. Earlier today, authorities said that they had arrested 2 suspected extremists. All tickets will be refunded.
Southern Wake County is bracing for another round of storms just days after an EF1 tornado touched down in Fuquay-Varina. That's where we find WRAL's Destiny Patterson, where a couple is still trying to recover from the storm while prepping for another.
I mean, you can see evidence of that tornado here. Take a look at these two trees that have been pulled from their roots. We're looking at the bottom of these trees here, and they're still working to clean them up. But really the main concern for the people who live here is this creek, and they're concerned about how it could rise and possibly flood going into the rest of this week.
Just a couple days ago, an EF1 tornado barreled through this Fuquay-Varina neighborhood. Days later, they wait for what Tropical Storm Debbie might bring. Vicky Stramel and her partner Jason Terame are deaf. I talked to them about the impending storm through the Notes app on my phone. My concern is the storm channel may be blocked from the debris, and then the flood can get worse from there, Stramel wrote. She shared these pictures of flooding in her yard from 2022. She hopes this won't be the case this time around. The Fuquay-Varina mayor encourages residents not to panic.
First of all, tell our citizens to stay calm. In Fuquay-Varina, our staff is well prepared.
With torrential rain on the way, Stramel wrote to me, "We aren't sure what to do." She hopes they fare better in this storm compared to the last.
The mayor here in Fuquay-Varina also tells me that they're doing what they can to be proactive, including cleaning storm drains and looking out for hazardous trees. Now, for you, because of that threat of flooding, if you see any high water, don't drive through it and don't drive around any barricades. Destiny Patterson, WRAL News, Wake County.
And we've seen some of the issues from the wind and, of course, the flooding. And that's the thing we're really going to be paying attention to. Rainfall totals at the coast really starting to add up now.
Yes, they are. And see those green boxes? Those are flash flood warnings. I think that we're going to see quite a few of those here tomorrow as this rain band gets here later on. Now, the coastal rainfall totals quickly climbing above 5 inches in spots. We already have some 7-inch totals, even a couple spots over 7 inches at the southern coast. So we're going to be watching this rain band very closely as it continues to dump heavy rain in that area. Not as heavy of rain here locally, but we're going to start to see the rain really ramping up overnight. So let's move along and track that band of rain at the coast. It's going to rotate inland, but we start to see it lifting all to the north overnight. So by the very early morning hours, 2, 3, 4, you're probably going to hear some rain on your roof, and we should see it pick up in intensity for the morning commute. I did want to point out it's not 100% of the map that is covered in a deluge of rain for the morning commute, but there are definitely going to be some of us that are dealing with heavy rain and likely some flooded roadways in the morning. So be sure to check in with meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner before you leave. Our morning news starts at 4 a.m. a little early tomorrow morning so we can keep you up to date on any flood advisories or flash flood warnings. I expect them to already be in place by the time you wake up. During the afternoon, we're going to watch these feeder bands. Right in here, you can kind of see the outline of them as they move ashore. There will be breaks in the rain. However, it's those bands that are going to have an even greater threat for an isolated tornado to quickly spin up. So we're going to have to keep a very close eye on them. Here's the thing, though. Once we get to tomorrow night and after tomorrow night, we begin to see some improvements out there, actually. We should begin to see some of this rain really sliding to the north. By Friday morning, we already have some pretty significant impacts expected across our area for Friday morning. So it looks like my clicker just died. Let me get you to the 7-day forecast over here. There we go. It's been doing a little overtime work today as we've been tracking these rain bands, the heavy rain at the coast for you pretty much all day long. 79 for the high tomorrow. It's the worst of the storm tomorrow. We are going to leave the WRAL weather alert day up for Friday due to the river flooding threat. Over the weekend, you'll have a chance for rain, but that will not be connected to Debbie. Just typical summertime stuff, Dan.
You know, Kat, you always outwork the clicker. You know what I mean?
You know.
You can't stop Kat. You can stop the clicker, not Kat. All right, what's up, Chris? So what a day in the Olympics. Exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking about double the gold, right? Gold around his neck, gold in his mouth, while one athlete from the United States of America is sporting double gold in Paris. Plus, NC State had to dodge raindrops yesterday. The weather today was okay for them in practice. How it's been impacting the Wolfpack. Next in sports. The weather, of course, has its impacts on sports, especially the football teams who are gearing up in camp for the beginnings of their seasons in just a matter of weeks. But so far, football coaches have looked at the downpours as opportunities to grow. Luckily, the weather held up for NC State to practice this morning, but they've dealt with their share of sprinkles, including the downpour yesterday during their practice section. Head coach Dave Doran says it's been a test of resiliency of his players since rain can also happen in a game.
We had a good test yesterday with the downpour right in the middle of practice and stayed outside in it. Didn't turn a ball over one time, didn't have a bad snap one time. I mean, it was pouring. You could barely see the film. And sometimes teams will complain like, hey, use an indoor over there. Let's go use the indoor. Nobody said a word. They just kept playing. And that was great. You know, it was a test.
Well, we've got a while, but the Pack will open up their season at home against Western Carolina on August 29th. That kickoff is at 7 o'clock. The NFL preseason kicks off for the Carolina Panthers tomorrow. This will be our first time seeing the Panthers under the leadership of their new head coach, Dave Canales. However, Bryce Young will not play any snaps at quarterback. You can watch the game live on Fox 50. Kickoff is at 7 o'clock. One of the most exciting events in the entire Olympics was the men's 400-meter final today. American Quincy Hall won gold in spectacular fashion with a comfort behind win to get first place. Speaking of fashion and some gold, Hall was wearing some gold in his mouth. Look at that. He was styling with his gold grill while representing the USA. So, of course, Hall instantly became a favorite on social media. I even had to post this right here. Winning gold at the Olympics with gold in your mouth is top tier. I don't know what kind of statement you can make with that, but like you had to have a lot of gumption to show up with gold in your mouth and to also go win some gold around your neck.
The comeback, he fell behind and he came back right at the last minute. It's almost like he planned that.
Yes.
It was an incredible race to watch. Congrats to him, and we just keep adding to that medal count. It's been fun.
And a beautiful smile.
Chris, yeah, you got it right. Gold everywhere. Chris, thank you. Hey, keep it right here. WRAL's Olympic Zone is next. We're going to bring you live updates from Paris and a look behind the scenes there. We appreciate you making WRAL News your choice for local news. Have a great night as we continue to track this tropical storm and keep you and your family safe.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.